Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. This is the Lunenburg Water District Commissioners meeting for January 8th. It's 4 p.m. Let us start by saying the Pledge of Allegiance.
Whoa, broke the chair.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, the side piece, sorry about that, Dave.
Yeah. Oh, my
Switch
back.
it
It's the best chair we have.
up. Yep. Slide that one
Let me get that out of here. Oh, I'm gonna retire.
Yeah.
It's gone.
Greg got best chair, Dave?
Yeah, I do. She's as fat as I was.
Yeah, there's some meeting minutes for you to peruse. We'll take a look at money.
Come right in, folks.
Come on in, Steve.
How you doing?
This is grabbing.
Trying to figure out the twins.
She's coming back with another Jewish.
It's all right. I charge $5.
Okay.
Oh, here you go.
What's new?
Yeah, Jeff got in.
What's that?
Yeah, Jeff got in.
Yes, he helped Terry with that.
Oh, that's right.
He's like, so he came in that
Have you talked to her for
that
a
fixed
scene?
them.
or
Yeah, fix it.
Matches at all?
Oh, made it pulled.
No,
No?
Oh, okay.
they're still
I
in,
thought he'd be in Florida.
they're still living in.
Oh, he came back
Yeah.
and we're like, hey. he's like,
They sold it to
Yeah,
her.
I knew that.
He sold his car.
He said it to us.
You know, the old one they had down below?
He should have, he wasn't
He
the
didn't
one.
quite say yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
40 foot road.
Yeah.
Listen, you called me up today, I'd be like,
It was good over there.
Yeah, I mean, figure that was just before wartime,
Yeah,
you know, and it was convertible.
yeah.
you don't have to hear what it said.
Somebody
Yeah.
stole it once.
Really?
Well, if you change your mind.
Storage and had storage, even wrote it first. That guy sold it.
Yeah, yeah,
You
because I
just-
told him.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And I, they already knew
Okay, all right.
that we had
Yeah.
her.
Switch.
Yep. I'm gonna switch the fight.
Where's our esteemed other member of the board?
Right here. Oh, yeah. He's on vacation.
He's on vacation?
Yep,
Oh,
Where it's
God.
warm.
yeah, came clean, right?
Yeah, can't really blame him.
Well, I can't blame him
Well,
either.
we tried to have the meeting where he's at, but
Yeah.
he really wasn't up for that.
We couldn't get a flight.
Yeah.
Jeff.
I should have stayed in the missionary, you know what? I would have had my own parish by now and everything.
Laid in jail.
I was thinking the same thing, Steve.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what happens when you take one of those hooked on phonics courses. You just gotta read everything.
He's very thorough. He doesn't.
Talking about me, Roger?
I am.
John, don't say it.
Yes, I know. Talk on it.
You just come here for that conference?
Yeah, my wife wanted me to do some work around the house. I said, I got this meeting I gotta go to.
December 18th, 2024.
And,
Both sets.
oh, both sets.
Executive.
Okay. So,
Okay.
okay. All right. So we're smooth there. Okay, we have Mr. Muller here with our review of our fiscal year 23-24. Take it away, Mark.
Okay, so, welcome. Just going through the audit, just to let you guys know, we did the audit of the June 30, 24 financials, and the Water District did receive what's called an unmodified opinion, which means that we were able to obtain sufficient audit evidence on all the accounts that we did test to come to that opinion. So that's good, that everything's, all the books and records are in order. And then going from there, I mean, just going through some financial highlights, I did put together a little management report with variances. And if you look, I'm just gonna start right on the balance sheet, which, if you look at the top, looks like, you have, right now at the end of the year, a significant increase in cash over the prior year, roughly about $2.4 billion. But the flip side to that is you also took out some short-term borrowings, which increased your debt by about $2.3 million. So it's a wash. But however, by having that cash on hand, the district was able to earn roughly about $205,000 in interest on short-term investing that money. So and the money was borrowed to finance the water main project on Mass Ave.
So you're seeing it on one side where we had the money, so
Right.
that's why you're seeing it.
That's why you're seeing, yeah,
Next
that's
year,
at the end of the year, right,
yeah.
the money, at June 30th, remember, the financial statement date, it's one day in time. That's it. It's the numbers on that date. So exactly that point, at June 30th, you had that cash on hand in the banks.
Yeah, I just want people to know that the
Well,
money was there, but it just hadn't been spent.
We had a
Yes.
great year.
Well, that's right. Yeah, and I did note that, I did put some variance analysis in the management report into that. Okay, so then the second big variance is your water revenue. That increased by roughly $434,000 this year. And part of that was mainly due to the new water rate tiering system that was put in place in January of '23. As a matter of fact, looking at the gallons pumped, you actually pumped less gallons in fiscal year '24 than '23, but the revenue increased. So obviously that's good for operations. You have positive net income at the end of the year, and that net income does go to fund for future operations. But when you look to your balance sheet, you're going to see, again, flipping back to the first page, you're going to see that accounts receivable has increased by roughly $206,000. And that's not surprising, obviously, as people owe you more money, your receivables are going to increase. So going from there, the next thing next one is it's wages. If you look at all the wage lines in the expenses, they've all increased, and that's normal. When we looked at the budget, it appeared that there is going to be a 4% increase in wages for fiscal year 6/30/24. And you can see that the percentage is a little higher than 4%, but what you have to keep in mind is that the 4% is just on base salary. That does not include, on-call amounts or emergency amounts or overtime amounts. So that was one of the increases. Then we looked at the other increase that was, that we work on is the pension expense and the OPEB benefit expense. And unfortunately, the amounts that you actually see in a profit and loss, okay, are actuarial determined amounts. So they don't represent the actual cash outlays that the water district spent, okay? And so with regard to the district's required pension contribution, that amount was roughly $86,000. And when you look at the pension expense, it was $117,000. So a part of that is to report your current year's portion of the future pension liability. So if you look each year, your net pension liability goes up or down depending on the calculations. And you pick up a piece of what you're gonna pay in future benefits on an annual basis, even though it's not the cash outlay, the actual cash outlay.
But it gets reflected in the next year of what we
Well,
actually went.
they'll make a whole new determination
Okay.
next year, and the
And
pension
then it just
expense
keeps-
the pension expense could go down, it could go
Okay.
up,
Okay,
depending on, the earnings of the plan and
Gotcha.
everything else. So I just wanted to point that out to you. And that's about it for the major variations from last year to this year.
So we're doing all right.
You're doing all right, yeah. Those were the significant variations between last year's amounts and this year's amounts. So I don't know if anybody else has any extra
I mean,
questions.
I don't really have any questions. I mean, there's a lot of just, I guess for the, for the general public, both people that probably care about this, is just, there's just some numbers that kind of jump out at me, just in the operation of the water department in general. It's just life, it just goes up, and this report shows it pretty good. I think, some of the big, I mean, if you look at just total operating expense, went up
Right.
$300,000
Yep.
in the year, so I mean, that's just, it's.
Right, and so there are
This,
some unique expenses.
correct, the pilot studies,
The pilot
et
studies,
cetera.
yeah.
But if you look at like, well, interestingly, professional fees went down,
Right,
but just, if you just take a good one here would just be, supplies and general operating. I mean, it's up 50%, it's just,
right,
I mean, I know corrosion control, that's up, everything kind of just creeps up, and it's, I don't wanna, some people just think, oh, you guys upped the rates and you got an extra $400,000, where
yeah.
oh, no.
It's all
there's
relevant.
there's
Yeah.
all very relevant.
Expenses
Right,
are up all across the board.
Yep.
So, no, it's a great bird's eye view, this report, to see, without going into beyond detail, like how these categories are broken down and where the money went. You know what I'm saying? So,
But also, always remember this too, in operations of any business, in some years, in every one of these expense categories.
yep,
Right, some years, you may have a lot of repairs to make, right? And then
Right.
you fix,
Yep,
make
yeah.
all the repairs, and next year, you're
Everything's
light
working
on
good and-
repairs.
yeah,
Yeah.
you're
Right,
doing-
because everything's in good working order.
right, you're just doing routine maintenance versus,
Right.
major
Yeah.
repairs. So, no, it's,
Yeah.
But I mean, as far as, I see it in every one of the businesses that I write financial statements for or audit. You're gonna see, obviously every year, your labor cost is gonna increase, your utility costs are gonna increase, telephone costs, insurance costs, they're
Everything.
they're going to increase every year.
That retirement, that's,
Well, and that's, some of that is tied, obviously, to the number of people in the pension plan.
Mhm.
And that, I suppose, in any year could increase or decrease, right? And that's nothing, you know, the district doesn't control that because you're part of Worcester County retirement, right?
Mhm.
It also would depend on how they invest their funds. If it's a great return in the market, right, and the pool of money that they have to pay benefits increases, then your liability and your expense and the required contributions that the district has to make would decrease. But it could go the other way. If it's a bad year for investments and the returns are low, obviously they're gonna expect you to put more money in. So, generally looking at it, when I look at the variance all the way through, I mean, again, except really for the really big cost drivers are the pilot studies that are being done, and that's about $260,000 out of your, you know, your $320,000 increase. So, I think you guys are doing pretty well at controlling expenses.
Good job, guys.
Because I just don't see any major, really, you see it,
right.
You're looking at what I'm looking at,
Mhm.
there's really no major fluctuations, you know? That means that expenses are being controlled and watched.
Anything, John?
No, nothing from me.
Hold on now, hold on. Say about that. Anything, Fran?
No, I'm good.
See if we have some public comment, or probably a public question.
Sure.
I'll wait till the end, but it's just
No.
about this.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Then
Mr.
we
Rogers,
can-
do you have a question?
Yeah, I do. At the beginning of your presentation,
Yeah.
you mentioned that you compared this year's audit categorized with last year's categorized.
That's correct.
Okay. Do you always do the same categories, or do you mix them up?
So for presentation, no, the expense categories are the same year to year. Yeah, are you,
Yeah, the question is really, are we sure that we're capturing any deviations by going and looking at certain categories versus the same old?
So did you do the exact same
No,
ones?
because the way
well, for
I
financial
classify
statement
everything
presentation,
stays-
yes, because that's the way it's.
He did the exact same ones the year before this as
Yeah.
well.
So
same
it-
categories.
Same
Yes.
categories year to year.
Right.
And so underlying the categories that end up in the financial statement, I would have a financial statement grouping report that pulls from your accounting program and groups accounts together to come up with these amounts. But that is the same from year to year.
Yeah.
Maybe to help with your question, Dave, is like, if you go through this report, I mean, there's subcontracting, corrosion control, supplies, these are all things that we'll use every year.
Sure.
However, like, there's a separate line in here for Lancaster, a pilot study, which would
Yeah.
not be a normal year
Right.
thing, Hickory Hills, et cetera, you know, so anything outside of the norm of, I would say, regular operation, I guess is highlighted in here, but the other categories are what we kind of routinely roll through every year and compare it to the year prior to see how we're doing. Hey, you know, like you said, repairs went up 50% this
Sure.
year, that's because we, you know, had broken something or other, I don't know, so.
I'm just concerned about making sure that it's an audit, that we would pick up information on if there was something askew. And unless you change the categories and how you look at them, you wouldn't know that. So if you do the same analysis with the same set of expenses, the town got into a bit of a problem with that because they just did the same categories, and it's not a big deal, but if we, I just wanna make sure that.
But some categories don't really change, like, what he was saying, we're always going to buy chemicals.
Yes.
So we are always gonna have that line item, corrosion control,
Mhm.
every year. So I don't want to deviate from that because we wanna be able
Sure.
to sit there and say, in 2022, we spent this much on the chemicals for the well.
Right.
So I think a lot of those categories, if you looked at this sheet, a lot of those categories are our day-to-day operation, those
Yep.
are never gonna change.
Right,
So those, I think we all like seeing what that's gonna happen. And if there are different categories, like he said, we can add different categories in, and that's where you could see the variance. But I'm afraid if I were to create or change that, that would eschew how I think he would look at it and how we as the district
Right.
would look at it. Cause we need to know, we buy chemicals every year.
right.
What do we spend on chemicals? Don't change it, it's always gotta go into that category. If it gets misplaced,
Mhm.
then that's gonna change our number. So I think that's why, I think for us, that works, keeping a lot of our like daily operations in that same.
And I would also say, you know, looking at, you know, QuickBooks that you use for accounting, I
Mhm.
mean, they're not really adding new accounts on an annual basis. You know, maybe every year you might, I'm not even saying every year,
Yeah,
maybe, you know,
This year,
when a need
say right.
arises, you're gonna add an account
Mhm.
for a new type of expense.
Dave,
Okay,
are you
and then-
concerned about like, sorry, I don't mean to,
Oh, yeah,
say,
no.
like maybe something getting an expense into the wrong category, we're not looking at
No,
it that way, or?
no, not at all. And I know I'm not explaining it right.
I think so, maybe what Dave's trying to say is, what happens when we put together a financial statement? We take your trial balance, right, with all your accounts,
Mm.
right? And we put it into by account, we put it in an account type in our system. Now, some of those accounts are combined. Okay, so like, you know, for repairs and maintenance, you may have 3 underlying accounts.
Yes.
Okay.
That are then grouped together into this one account.
Mhm.
Right,
Right.
am I following?
Yes.
Yeah. And I think he's asking, are we looking at the variances in all of those
Yeah.
sub-accounts? And the answer to the question is, we do it in our accounting firm, we look at those variances, yes,
Okay.
okay?
Mhm.
But you're not gonna see the individual account variances in this report because some of them may be grouped together.
Right. The other question I had was, the accounts, $200,000 in monies that are owed to us.
Interest was.
Oh, no, I
is
think,
that what you're talking about?
no, I think we're talking about, I think you're talking about the increase in accounts receivable.
Yes,
Yeah, that, I wouldn't find that abnormal, being that the water rates increased. Because obviously, every bill that goes out is for a larger amount.
okay.
So just, you know, at any given time, there's a quarter of the year that's waiting to be collected. So obviously, if those bills are larger, right, to begin with, over what was in the same quarter the prior year, your receivables are gonna grow. Just as a,
That's part of it, but I guess the concern I have, simply stated, is are the numbers increasing? Are more and more people not able to pay their bills, and therefore that number increases? Follow?
No, I understand what you're saying, that's delinquencies. And, as far as I recall, even in prior years, the district was making a much greater effort at collecting, back money that was owed to them.
Mhm.
So I do feel that the increase is very much tied to the increase in rates.
I do know we reviewed some of that when we were looking at some of them, and there are a couple, just for a couple big accounts that put some big numbers into it, you know, such as a few restaurants that did not pay and ended up leaving and closing shop, and
Right.
now they owe
Yep.
thousands to us and sewer, you know, so unfortunately, those have become a
Right.
little bit of long-term.
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, so,
And-
so we sat and we went through them, you know, what are these, and yep, you know, we have had, because of the rise of that, I think some of them have become on payment plans, they're on their payment plans, we have terms for them, so that follows through, which I believe we are doing a lot better about collecting and following through with payment, stuff like that, but yes, there were a few big accounts that really put a dent in that for,
Have we put sufficient notifications on those accounts?
oh yeah,
So that, you
They're
know,
off.
if they're sold, the business is sold, we get paid.
yes, yep, yep.
Yeah, so if it's considered a municipal lien, we don't have to physically put in a lien, but it's, municipal bill is a lien, so no
Yeah,
matter
right.
what, it's never going away, it's gonna get
Right.
paid,
Yeah,
we just have to wait a little longer to get it.
yep.
You mentioned about Worcester County Retirement.
Yes.
What are they currently receiving for income as a percentage?
Oh,
for-
I would have to go back and look at their reports.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I don't have that information with me.
Okay.
Yeah, I would have to go back and see. I mean, there are disclosures,
They used to send
Yeah, I
through
mean,
a report.
so, no, I understand, and I do include, so roughly, you know, the assets that they're holding are returning basically anywhere from 2.4% up to 7.7%,
Okay.
depending on asset class.
Okay.
And I would assume, you know, they probably have some risk in their portfolio, but they obviously don't wanna take, you know, a substantial risk and wind up losing a
Sure.
couple $1 million and.
No, but the market's gone up and they,
Yeah.
I'm sure they use instruments that are tracking the market,
Yep,
so.
I mean, if you know, not to, I don't wanna take up too much time for everybody, but just to say, like their asset class is like global equities, fixed income,
Yeah.
or fixed income,
Yeah.
real estate, timber, and, you know, things like that, so.
And the obvious inference from my perspective is that that's part and parcel of what we're gonna use for retirement. The returns.
Oh, absolutely.
So, I mean, it's
Well,
a-
sure, and depending on what those returns are, that's gonna drive the cost to the district.
Right. That's
So-
why I asked that.
Yeah.
Okay. That's all I have.
Nothing else? Great job, Mark.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, moving on. Mr. Dion,
Hi,
how are you?
good, how are you?
Very good. 13, oh,
Well, you can skip over.
yeah, let's, I mean, we,
Yeah, go
yeah,
ahead.
let's skip over it to him.
Yep.
We're gonna go on to discussion with 1316 Mass Ave regarding Bill. Come on up.
Okay. I gave you guys a
Oh,
copy
Ozzy.
of,
Yep, yep, got you, see it.
Nice to be seen.
I'm letting you do all the talking.
Here, sit next door.
well,
Oh, I'll just stay right back here.
I guess I've only got two questions. One is, how many gallons are in a cubic?
Cubic
Foot.
foot.
7.48.
Woof, yeah,
So that's a lot of water.
yeah,
Her bill before was
yeah.
1,100 cubic feet.
I can see.
This one's 5,900 cubic feet. And I guess, so that's a lot of water on a septic system. I would think I'd see water bubbling out of the back, but yeah. But, and my other question is, do those meters ever screw up?
If they do, it's in your favor, just so you know.
They get sluggish.
Yeah, they say that, you know.
Yeah, as they wear, they become less accurate
Yeah.
on.
Well, I just wondered if, I mean, this number just jumped
Oh, yeah.
so much. I mean, there's no toilets running, You know, I didn't see any water running out of buildings. I just, how many showers did it take to do that?
This, I mean, we've sat on the side a million times, and residents have come in, and I see it, and there's a leak.
Well,
I
there
know, but
was,
then I
so-
hear a leak.
No, you wouldn't hear a toilet leaking. But I would say 95% of the time we go to a house, toilet was leaking. And when we get there, the toilet's not leaking because people already fixed it or it's not working. But if you pop the toilet tank off, you can actually see the water line and it's over the tube where it drains through.
Yeah.
You can't hear that.
So I need a
I can-
plumber.
No,
No,
your problem's corrected because
Yeah.
whatever was going on isn't anymore because we read the meter and you haven't used any water.
Well, okay.
So-
So, I mean, if, in my house, if my toilet's running, I can hear it. I can hear water
I-
running.
I
I'm
disagree.
with you. I mean, I hear you, you know, like, we're all in this together, and as I look at some of these, and people come in, like, man, like, if I got that bill, I'd be like, what happened?
If I had a sprinkler system or something else, I mean, this is-
I mean, there's,
thank God it does, I'm not on sewer.
well, yeah, oh, I know.
I would've had a stroke.
Yeah, it's, unfortunately, the meter,
Alright.
it doesn't lie, you know,
Well,
we can do.
I think it does, but.
Well, I think the thing is, we sent the guys out, you know, after we had spoke with you in the office. And I think if we had seen, the tough part is not that you want the leak to continue, but had it been continuing, we would have seen that, we could have figured out where it was coming from, but now, you know, at the bottom of this, I wrote on here, you know, so the last read was done on 12/6.
Mhm.
So
1/6.
almost exactly a month's worth of usage, they're at 200 cubic feet, which basically falls in line,
Okay.
so after 3 months, they're back to 600-700 cubic feet what they were at. So that's the tough part, is that you're consistent now, you're back to, you've only used or they have only used the 200 cubic feet in the 1 month.
So I went from paying $136, which is fine, to $513 because of a leak that I can't hear and can't see, and I am responsible for that.
Unfortunately, yes.
I
I
mean,
got a house over on Lunenburg. I had rented out, a guy moved in there, put a new toilet in, and 3 weeks later, I got a call, there was no water. It's a well. He ran the well dry with the leak in 3 weeks.
Oh, I can understand that, but like I said, I can hear a leak, you know, if the toilet's running.
It depends on how the toilet's leaking. I mean, if it's just leaking through the top of the bowl, down through and
You
into
still
the,
hear it.
you wouldn't hear it.
Steve, I mean, like, I
All right.
you know, I look at,
I can't, I mean, I can't change the meter, obviously, I can
So
change.
just so the way the meter works, it's a mechanical meter.
Yeah.
So the water, it's a disc inside, so the water has to pass through the spin the disc,
Yeah.
which spins to make it read.
I
And it
understand.
works on a magnet, so there's no way of spinning the disc faster than the water going through.
I just didn't know if the meter itself could.
But it's just mechanical, so it's just mechanical means that.
I worked on mechanical my whole life, mechanical ship brakes, but it's just that kind of number. I mean, I mean, it is what it is.
I understand
To do
where
it,
you're at.
I'm willing to, if you went up in higher tiers, to put it back down to the.
So it would have put him into, so that would have been the second, almost into the third tier.
Yeah, so
About
we can
5,000.
draw them to the first tier,
Yeah.
So we
not
can
to the.
draw-
So if the water rates increase, the higher usage you have, and, you know, don't forget, for us, we still provided the water, you know, like, we have a cost associated with it too, but what we can do is, I mean, I get it and I understand, we won't charge you the higher tier rates, we're just gonna charge you that flat tier 1 rate for the 500, whatever the cubic feet usage was.
5,900,
So
so,
it'll drop that bill down some,
Little bit.
Okay.
yeah.
you know, to.
Yeah.
So you will send me another bill, or are you
Yeah.
just gonna tell me right now, so
I gotta do a little bit of math, so
Okay.
I
She
have.
did some good math earlier, let's do that fast.
Yeah, I do have your phone number, so let me, when I get in tomorrow, run some numbers, and I'll make some adjustments and everything, and then once I adjust it on my end, it just does it, on my end, I can't actually create like a whole new one, so what I can do is give you the new dollar amount, and then we'll work it out.
what I'm worried about is, since we've looked and it seems to be no leak or anything, I can't afford to pay $513 every month. I mean, that was quite a shock when I opened the bill.
Yeah.
That's not in my budget, so.
So it's for the 3 months, it's not just for 1
For
month,
3
it's,
months, I know
yeah,
that, yeah.
which, I do know with the commissioners, we have things set up, to make some payments. You know, this is not something, obviously, that you, or most people would anticipate, so we can talk tomorrow and we can figure out whatever is gonna work to get
Okay, they got
the
that-
adjustment made, and then we'll figure out what we can do for,
Okay, well, thank you for
Making sure.
listening, I'm just, was
I guess the
blown
biggest
away
thing
by
is, did
the
you find
amount.
Well, that's the problem,
no,
you know, I mean,
and
because
it's a,
I'm not in that house.
No, I
yeah,
understand.
So I don't
it's a
know
zone.
if,
I mean,
I don't know if a toilet's stuck, I mean, it's very
Yeah.
possible, but I would think that much water on a septic system.
no, I'm not gonna speak to the
Yeah.
septic system, but just, I mean, if you haven't found the leak, I would really be a hound dog on that, because it's
but
gonna
we did
keep.
the read.
Right.
And they're,
And
and in
it
this
stopped,
past month, they
whatever
only
it
used that,
stopped.
but I would just maybe let them, the tenant
Yeah,
aware
I don't know.
of what had happened, that something
Yeah.
may
Okay,
have.
I'm aware.
I mean, I don't, you know what I'm saying,
Yeah,
outside spigot,
aware.
phosphate
Well,
valve.
there's only one outside spigot,
Right,
and
I
if that
mean-
was leaking, you wouldn't be able to get in the house.
This doesn't do the garage too, does it? It's just the house, yeah. I
The
mean,
garage is,
Yeah.
it does the car lot, but that's shut off,
oh, right,
so.
yeah,
Well, I appreciate it, appreciate your time, thanks guys
Yeah.
for getting us in this quick.
Yeah,
Well, thank
I'll
you
talk to
very
you
much.
tomorrow.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
okay.
I see it.
Stay safe, Steve, take care.
I didn't recognize you down here.
Yeah, I know it, huh?
really?
Thanks a lot.
Oh, you're talking with his name?
Yeah,
Steve, yeah.
Leon's garage.
It's a service station,
Yeah.
that's his son, Ed's
Yeah.
dad, but Steve ran it for years.
But the house that they're talking was the one that Eddie lived in.
Well, it's not
well,
his
he
own.
rented that.
He rented that,
Yeah,
he
yeah,
rented
yeah.
my house. I bought my house from Eddie.
Oh, no, Eddie Sosa.
Oh,
I used to work here, yeah.
Anyway,
Yes,
we can go down Lunenburg Lane.
Just a quick question.
Just one though.
Just one. By changing the meter, wouldn't that help at all?
No, and we've,
Okay,
so
that's
this
why I
is-
didn't say anything?
because
No.
we're still getting accurate
Yeah.
reads right now, there's
So
nothing.
we've done this in the past where some people have questioned the meter, and what we can do is we can pull that meter, send it out to be inspected, calibrated, whatever you may wanna call it. And then if it's in fault, we'll own up to it, but if it's still at your fault, you need to pay that expense of the removal, the
Oh,
calibration,
okay,
et cetera.
okay.
We've done that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay,
As a
see,
people,
that's why I
as an
come,
as
I
an
learned.
operation, so just goes,
So when you buy a new meter, the
Yeah.
accuracy is not even 100%. It's like 99.6% accurate. So when we take a meter out, which we just did one a few months ago, we took it and it was a resident Townsend
Yeah,
Road.
yeah, yeah.
So we took that and sent it for testing, and it actually came back. Was it 97%, 98? So you could see that it was to their
To their
benefit.
favor.
There,
in their
well,
favor
that's
of
what you
going
were
a little
saying,
bit
that if it was
slower.
off, that
Yeah.
would be the, yeah, okay.
So that's one of the whole things, like when it comes time, which we're getting close to redoing the whole meter system, that's what you look at, the financial cost. How much did it cost to do the whole meter program, and what's your benefit of the added revenue you're gonna generate? And a lot of times when you start weighing it out, you could say, hey, let's spend $500,000 and replace the meters, cause you're gonna get it back, through the
Yeah.
term, through the life of that
For more
meter.
accurate bills.
Yeah, right.
yeah, I mean, we're sending 100 cubic feet and we're getting paid for 97, it's,
Yep.
right.
Yeah,
Okay, you worked with it, that was good, that was very good.
Okay,
That was no problem.
thank you, note that on my salary.
Yes,
Zero. Okay, RFP, yeah, let's, open and review the RFP lease for the cellular equipment.
We didn't
on
get any.
Polk Road.
we got none.
I even called
Yeah.
people, called Verizon.
Yeah.
I even called around. I was hoping that, they were kind of.
Something.
Yeah.
I know,
Hey, we tried.
yeah.
Hey,
I was all excited about it.
Me too. I was
know.
looking to bring in, that's a huge money
is.
source for us, so I'm begging for those, so.
are they taking it away?
No.
No, we just have a spot available, so
Yeah.
we were trying to put it out there,
Sure.
to have people bid to
Yeah,
put
so
their equipment up there.
They have merged in the past.
Yeah.
So AT&T and Cellular One merged, so we lost one of those. And then T-Mobile and Nextel, Sprint merged,
Yeah.
so now we're down to just T-Mobile. So up on the Chase Road tank, we have AT&T and T-Mobile, that's it. So
You don't-
we
you don't-
had, one time we had 4 carriers up there.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I thought they had a Verizon at one time,
Not on Chase Road, Verizon's on Sunny Hill Road.
Sunny Hill Road.
Yeah, so there's another tank, we could do another RFP for that tank as well.
Yeah, I mean, is there, can you re-advertise this, or, I mean,
We could, but I mean,
Yeah.
even we put it in the central register, which
Yeah.
exposed it even more, we didn't even need to.
Yeah.
We put it in there anyway. We can call around a little more and
Yeah.
we can redo it again. I
Yeah.
mean, it's all good, the whole RFP, the whole thing's all
That's
set,
ready to
we
go.
just change date
yeah,
and redo it again. And if you want, maybe we'll expand it to include the Sunny Hill Road tank as well. We can fit one carrier
yeah,
on Sunny Hill Road unless we do the corral.
right, yeah,
You
yeah.
know, if we do a
yeah.
corral, we can probably.
Mm.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, the more money we get out of that, the better, it just, you know, so,
We'll keep pushing.
yeah, we'll kind of, okay.
We tried.
Yep.
Yeah, moving on. Commissioner, superintendent, clerk, additions, you guys got anything?
Sorry, go ahead.
The only thing I got, we spoke to the pilot testing, the company doing pilot testing, Keating's. We originally had thought it was only gonna be a couple more weeks. He said till the last week in February.
Okay.
So they haven't, went through the breakthrough, it has to break through, and that'll give them the actual exact,
Yeah,
details.
okay.
Any news from the engineers about anything?
Nope, not on,
They're coming to the next meeting, right?
Oh,
22nd?
yes, yeah, they're coming the 22nd, and they want to just maybe run general information. They're probably going to meet with you as the chairman just to do a baseline stuff and then present it to
Sure.
the board and to the residents.
For Hickory Hills and, yeah, and Lancaster, was it, or was it
Yes,
just general
yes,
information of?
general
moving forward?
information of everything, but the focus was the final pilot testing
Correct.
report for Hickory Hills
Yes.
and Lancaster House.
Okay, good, that's one of my questions, that was answered.
So, just one other thing, nothing tied to the pilot testing, well, actually, kind of is tied to pilot testing. Keating's is running to waste continuously, 24 hours a
Yep.
day. So the whole water system's been running on Lancaster Ave.
Yeah,
So we're starting to see some complaints of green water. So that the Lancaster wells, they have iron and manganese.
mhm,
And then when you add chlorine, because we chlorinate those wells,
Mhm.
it gives you a little tint of green. So, I don't know how to fix that, you know, so, I mean, we could back off the chlorine a little bit, which is what I told the guys to back off a little
Sure.
bit. And, but it's not, now that I said it, people might say more.
I know.
But it was, like a larger scale usage
Yeah.
where the guy, was building a hockey rink, so
Yeah.
you could actually see it.
okay,
You know,
But
yeah,
there's no-
it's just big stuff.
No
No,
harm, no
yeah.
nothing to it, it's just.
right,
Yeah, so it's,
and we can't, yeah,
so on another little note, we operate through a Water Management Act permit from Mass DEP.
Yeah.
The last one we had, I think expired like 10 years ago, and they just kept putting in new regulations, they extended.
Sure.
So anyway, last week we just received the official one for the next 20 years.
okay,
There are some things in there that are inaccurate, but for wells, so behind well number 2, we tried, because well number 2 has water quality
mhm,
issues, dirty water, iron, manganese, bacteria. And so we attempted to put wells out behind it to relocate that. And the testing came back, so original capacity of well number 2 is 190 gallons a minute. The wells out back, we tried to have that increased. And there's some issues going on with Mass DEP on allowing us to get an acceptable pump rate. So right now they're at like 170 gallons a minute. And which to spend $1 million to get 170 gallons a minute really isn't something that most people will be
Mhm.
looking
Yeah, no,
forward to doing. So.
Mhm.
Anyway, so that's the only thing that's in the permit. The permit didn't give accurate information for the pump rate, so I'm not sure how that'll get addressed
yeah.
down the road. So I mean, if someone goes and sees a water management act permit, they're gonna say, well, you got all this water, but it's not accurate.
Right.
Okay.
So, that's all I got.
I feel like there's more there, but that's okay. There you go,
For
Chris.
now. The only question I had to you guys was, if you noticed in the warrant, we've been paying, which I meant to ask you ahead of time, or them, whatever the original amount is, but we got charged the sewer betterment for over at Leisure, even though we can't basically, anyways, yeah.
So the
So,
sewer line doesn't even go in front of our property.
Right.
We like the meter readings for the sewer, we used to just give them to them, we never charged them. And then they charged us the betterment for the sewer, which doesn't even go in front of our building. And we tried to have it removed, they wouldn't remove it, so that's where the sewer, the meter reading fee came from. So the meter reading fee covers the sewer betterment, so they're paying the betterment themselves, so.
so anyways, my
So
point
is the
is,
betterment paid now?
No,
no,
it's
so that's
still
my
there.
question, is we just got the third, fourth quarter bill, and it's $645 on the warrant to pay this for 2024. So I called and I just said, what do we owe? Can we just get this paid? Because she said that there's interest every year, every month, whatever the tax bills
Sure.
are. It's roughly $1,700. Can I get a payoff amount so that we can be done with this for the
That'll
next warrant and
Cover,
be,
that betterment
done.
will be paid in
we're done?
debt paid to society and sewer. I'm okay with that, yeah,
Okay.
just,
I'm not.
Okay. We gotta pay it regardless, so.
Why? Doesn't run by our property, doesn't even go by in front of
So
our
you know that
building.
little street, that's
Yeah.
actually true town approved road, Water Street. There was a sign there, they just took, I don't know why they took it down like 2 years ago. That is a legit town road. If the sewer line ran down Water Street, then we could have been charged a big betterment.
For us to hook onto that sewer line, we'd have to run it, what, 200 or 300 feet down a town road and then into the building.
Yeah.
Now, why are we gonna pay a betterment on a sewer line that doesn't go down the town road? Doesn't go in front of
yeah,
our property?
I kind of agree with John here, like,
If
what
they
was,
want us to pay it, run it down the street.
hey, we're all friends, here. All right here, all right here.
I mean, open up a can of worms on
Well,
that
it
one,
just
I just
doesn't make
wanted to
any
get it
sense.
paid
I
off.
guess, how much was the original betterment? Like,
Yeah, that's-
11,000. 10 or 11,000.
well, yeah, I understand paying a betterment, but if it doesn't even go in front of our building, or remotely close, why is there, so I'm kind
This
of
was
curious.
before me.
Like,
Well, it goes down Leisure Ave. So
Okay.
our address,
I understand what our address is.
sometimes it says 50 Leisure Ave. I mean, we had changed it in the past to 50
So,
Water Street.
Where is the sewer? Is
It
it
goes
for
down
the,
Leisure Ave and then up the bus route.
the old F-town bus line,
Yeah,
or
which
whatever?
the town doesn't own either. That's not town.
It
road.
doesn't
I
go
know,
down
that's a
that
different, that's a
drive.
whole different thing that's going on right now, but does it, so it does not go past our building, or does it?
It just goes on Leisure Ave.
It does not, when you take a right, it doesn't go down there.
So so the only way for us to access that water, sewer line is to go up the Water Street Road to get to Leisure Ave. But this was all 5 years
Here's
ago.
I know.
Leisure Ave.
I know.
This
I
went to the
didn't
sewer
mean that.
committee.
This is the
It went
road in front
everywhere.
of our building.
Yeah, understood.
Doesn't go down here at all, it ends right here. Doesn't go down our street, doesn't go down in front of our.
Do we
building.
own this up to that property there? You know what I'm saying, like, I
No,
don't,
no, because there's a set of bushes across here
Is it,
that this guy over here owns.
so, I guess my question is, and this is very exciting for everybody, for sure. But where, does our property line at the old water district abut
Leisure.
Leisure Ave right here? Because then I could see them saying, well, it abuts. I could see
I'm
that
not-
argument.
I'm not sure how the original road, yes, the water district did own to Leisure Ave.
Okay,
But then when that taking was, I think it was in the 1950s, they made Water Street a town road. So I'm not sure if that took away our
Which is-
ownership to Leisure Ave. That little driveway that the DPW used to come oil and sand and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah,
But see, they don't know any more about that than what we're talking about right now, but they're gonna send us a bill anyhow. And if they can prove to me that that sewer goes by our property, maybe I'll consider paying, but I'm not paying it, at least not as far as
we
I-
went through this 20 years ago when this
Yeah.
started.
Yeah, I mean,
2000, so I mean, we fought all this,
Yeah.
and there's no fighting it, that's why we came up with the fee to pay for the meter reads.
Yep.
And that's why it was just, you know, you're gonna charge us for giving you free, you know, readings, and, well, you're gonna get it back, so that's why all these fees came into place, because they did this. And,
But we wanna work with you.
so anyway, so in the end, I mean, the fees are gonna continue forever.
Oh, yeah.
I say, let's pay this off,
Yeah.
done with it, and, we move on. I mean, this is
Yeah.
past sewer commissioners, it's
Yeah.
not,
Right.
it might even have been the selectmen back then, which I think it was regular sewer commissioners.
But if it was originally a $17,000 bill and went down to 17.
Yeah, we're at 1,700, so, that's why I saw it, and it just made me curious, I'm like, alright, I'm gonna put it on just to pay this, so I just happened to call, out of curiosity, what's left, and it's such a minimal amount that, and she had said, well, you'd have to send me an email, you know, what is the exact payoff as of January 30th, 2025, because interest accrues
So the payment's $600 for the year, or is that by?
for the year, so it's
So
322.86
we got 2 more
a
years
quarter.
anyway, so it's not,
So let's just pay it, like, instead of adding a little interest every year to it, and I don't know. Unless you want me to just drop it and let it go for the next two when we pay the next two.
I seem to remember, when Larkin was our counsel, he looked at this issue and said, you don't have to pay this.
he did.
Huh?
He did say that.
Right.
And there was a hearing, and he said, oh, don't worry, I'm gonna go to the hearing,
Yeah.
it's gonna be all set. And, I called him the day after the hearing, and he says, oh, I forgot to go, and
Yeah.
that was the end of it, and there was no fighting it, it was set in stone, it was done. And we tried to have it removed, they wouldn't remove it, and,
So, well,
Yeah.
it's $1,700?
Left.
We
Left.
owe 1,700 of the original 11,000.
11,000.
All right,
I mean, well, I'm gonna pass the buck
Okay,
around.
yep.
Kick that can down the road.
Nope,
'cause
that's fine,
If
I'm letting it go,
You'll have to wait till birds get here. 'cause
I'm letting it
my
go,
vote is no.
we'll get the bills and.
I wanna have it, I don't know what the correct term is, I'm sure Mr. Rogers can tell me, but like, I want them to clear it out. I don't wanna pay the $1,700.
Abatement.
Yeah, abatement. I wanna go like everybody else does. I want that abated because I don't think we should have been paying it in the first place.
I agree with you.
You know, so that's gonna be, if anything, I don't know, I need to look into this a little
Yeah.
bit more. There's obviously a lot more knowledge in this room about this.
This was a hot.
I can see it
subject,
being
and
a
this-
hot-
And the sewer commissioners would note, you're paying it. And they didn't wanna budge on it. They usually,
Well-
like, the new ones will pass the buck, like, well, I wasn't on the board.
I understand.
back then, so.
Well, maybe this board
Yeah.
will.
Maybe, let's
Anyways,
let's
that's,
do a little more research on that.
that is all I have.
excuse me.
Any more public comment?
I make a motion, we adjourn.
So moved. That's interesting.